After winning promotion in the 23-24 season, Como currently sit 15th in the Serie A table and have a real threat of relegation this season. However, Como have made some huge signings like Raphael Varane, Andrea Belotti and Alberto Moreno, just to name a few. These are some serious signings. With the right guidance, Como could become a real force in Italy and Europe. So that is where we come in, as today we are taking charge of Como, saving them from relegation and ultimately winning them a Champions League trophy along the way. Now, if you do enjoy the content, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it does really help me out. We're trying to get 5,000 subscribers total. Let's now jump into FC25 and get this Como rebuild on the way. Well, this is the Como team we have loaded into an FC25, and I can definitely see why they are struggling in real life. This team definitely isn't the best on paper and definitely will need some work in this rebuild. However, we can make 1 or 2 changes right now in game and improve our initial starting 11. We've brought Odero and Belotti into the team, which makes the starting 11 stronger right now, but we will definitely need to make signings in season number 1. But Como do have some insanely high potential youngsters at their club. Dele is one of the best right midfielders in FC25 in terms of potential. We've used him before and got him well over 90 rated. He's going to be a big player for us in this rebuild. We've also got Nico Paz, who's 19-year-old and 73 rated. He's another player with insane potential in FC25, and our centre attacking midfielder and right midfield slots should be sound for the entire rebuild. Now, unfortunately, all of our best players are over 25 years of age, so we are going to have to bring some quality into the team, keep us in Serie A in season number 1. But Como's huge spending in real life is not reflected in FC25, only got 9 million euros. But before we get into making any signings, I am going to slightly adjust the formation. We are going to slightly alter our formation and go with the 4-4-1-1, as I think this formation allows us to get all of our best young players into the starting 11. And the way I want to play with Como in this rebuild is definitely going to be tiki-taka. We've got a lot of really good ball playing players already, and I do think that this tactic gets the best out of the players we've already got. But looking at the team, we do need to use this 9 million euros. Van der Bremt is only in on loan, is only 71 rated. Our only other right back at the club is Roberto, who's 79 rated but 32-year-old. He will start declining. We've also got Lovine, who is 33-year-old and 71 rated. We definitely need to bring a new right back to the club in this transfer window. But there is going to be one side objective in this rebuild. In order to win the Champions League, we must have at least 4 Italian players in the starting 11 at the end of the rebuild. And this starting 11 is not exactly full of Italian players, so there is some work to do in the transfer market. Now, we have identified the right back we want to bring to Como in season number 1, and it's Filippo Teresiano of AC Milan. He is 21-year-old, he's 72 rated, he has got okay stats, he's got very good potential in FC25, and he is definitely a signing for the future. Given our low transfer budget, he would be affordable to us, as we'd only have to pay anywhere from 5.5 to 7.3 million euros for him, and I think in the long term he will be a very good signing. And Teresiano joins the club for 7.4 million on a 5-year deal. He's Italian, so he fits our objectives, however we have slightly overpaid for his services. Now, we're only left with 2 million euros in the bank. We are in the process of selling some deadwood from the squad, but I don't think we're going to have enough to sign another player in this window. So in terms of signings, I expect our transfer window to be done, but there will be some more outgoings. Now, after signing Teresiano, we have also sold 4 players who were surplus to requirements, and we have raised around 4 million euros, but we're going to use that 4 million euros to bring some coaches in and renew a few contracts in season 1. Now, we are working on some deals to get some youngsters out on loan, but I'm not going to bore you with that, lads. Our transfer window as of right now is finished. There'll be no more permanent outgoings or incomings. So without further ado, let's simulate forward straight through to the end of season number 1, see how we get on with Como in game. So we have arrived at the end of season number 1, lads, and we've had a very respectable first season as Como boss, finishing 11th in Serie A on 48 points, 6 points off a top half finish. We did have negative goal difference, which we do need to fix in season number 2. But as far as a first season goes, I'm really happy with an 11th place finish. Now, in the Coppa Italia, we had a very disappointing run, knocked out by Cremonese, who were in the division below. That is not good enough, and we do need to improve in season number 2. So this is how the team is looking at the end of season number 1. We have seen some very good growth all across the pitch, with Paz and Dele being our best growers. Teresiano has gone to 75 rated as well, which we like to see. Odero becomes our first 80 rated player of the rebuild, and he looks like a very solid goalkeeper. Now, we have laid some foundations for success in season number 2, but we will need to improve the squad. Alberto Moreno is now 33 years old. We'll need to bring a new left back in to replace him, and I do think our centre back pairing is quite weak. I think we need a centre back as well in the summer, so a centre back and left back will be at the top of our shopping list. If we can nail those signings, I do think we've got a better chance of at least achieving a top 5 finish in season number 2. Now, at the end of the season, we will be saying goodbye to Felipe Jack, Pepe Reina and Simeone Verde. I just feel like all 3 players aren't good enough to play Como anymore. And we did promote a very exciting youngster youngster Nicolas Ricci to the first team. He's 17-year-old, 60 rated. He had between 84 and 90 potential, and if we can get him a decent loan move in season number 2, he has got potential to be a first team player for us later down in the rebuild. Now in terms of stats, it was a Dio who was our star performer, getting 15 goals and 2 assists. I do think season number 1 was successful, nowhere near the relegation zone which we'd like to see. We're now going to get into season 2 and improve our defence and hopefully get into the top half of Serie A. So we have arrived in season number 2 and we have got a very poor transfer budget. The board have only given us 18 million euros, so we're definitely going to have to sell some players in this window. Now luckily for us, we have got an absolutely massive squad. We had a lot of players out on loan last season who we can sell this season, and that should recuperate us quite a lot of money. Now we have been extremely busy at the start of this transfer window selling the deadwood to increase our transfer budget, and that has seen 11 players leave the club already this window. Yannick Engelhardt has left the club for 2.8 million euros. Oliver Abildgaard has left the club for 3.9 million euros. Ben Corney has left the club for 1.7 million euros. Ali Jassim has left the club for 1.7 million euros. Tommaso Cassandro has left the club for 1.3 million euros. Merlin Mustafa has left the club for 3 million euros. Tommaso Fumagalli has left the club for 4.4 million euros. Peter Kovacic has left the club for 1.8 million euros. Samuel Ballet has left the club for 1.2 million euros. Jean-Pierre Nassam has left the club for 1.1 million euros. And we have also loaned out wonder kid Nicolas Ricci for the next 2 seasons. However, we now have 42 million euros in the bank to bring a centre back and left back to the club, and we can massively improve our back line with these funds. Now, kicking off the transfer window, we are going for our top left back target, Matteo Ruggieri, who is playing for Atalanta at the minute. He's 77 rated, 23 years old, very decent stats, and is also very affordable, as Atalanta are going to want anywhere from 12.7 to 15.9 million euros for him. He's a great left back, and signing him would leave us with plenty of money for a very good centre back. And Matteo Ruggieri signs for the club for 14 million euros in a 5-year deal, and I think this is a fantastic signing. And we have now got 27 million euros to bring a centre back to the club, and we have identified the centre back we want to bring to Como in this transfer window. That man is Jarell Quansah, who is currently playing for Lazio. We have never used him yet in FC25. He's 22-year-old, 77 rated, 6'3", has great defensive and physical attributes, and he's got a play style as well, and we can definitely afford him, boys, as Lazio are going to want anywhere from 17.5 to 21.9 million euros. I think he would be an excellent signing. He's got great potential, so let's bring him to the club. And Jarell Quansah signs for the club for 17.5 million euros, and this is another very good signing. Now we are left with 8 million euros in the bank, but we do need to bring some new coaches in, and we've got a hell of a lot of contracts to renew. I don't really want to sell any more players. We've lost 11 players in this window. I'm going to say that's our transfer window done. And with Quansah and Ruggieri added to our back line, I do think our team's looking slightly stronger on paper. Not signed world beaters, but we have signed good first team players who've got potential to get to at least 85 rated, which is really important, and there's quite a few players in this team who could reach 80 rated this season, which would be a big help for me. We've got a strong bench as well going into season number 2. Plenty of players who can make an impact. This season for me is just all about consolidating in mid-table and letting our young players develop. Then in season 3 we can get some more signings into this team and maybe push for European football. So with our transfer window done and our starting 11 picked, I think there's nothing left to do other than simulate forward straight through to the end of season number 2. But we have arrived at the end of season number 2, boys, and do you know what? The lads deserve some credit. We have actually finished 7th in Serie A on 57 points with positive goal difference, winning 15 of our 38 games, finishing above the likes of Fiorentina and Lazio. I think the lads have been absolutely outstanding this season, and if we can nail the signings in season 3, we could definitely push for European football. And in the Coppa Italia, we actually reached the semi-finals, which is a fantastic achievement. We just found Inter Milan in top form. They smashed us 6-1 over 2 legs, but some really positive signs this season. We've been excellent on the pitch. So this is how the team is looking at the end of season number 2. We've got so many 80 rated players in the team. Quansah and Ruggieri have had great seasons in terms of growth. Paz is now 83 rated and the best player at the club. I don't think this team is very far away at all being a top level Italian side. Going into season number 3 though, we need to get some more Italians in this team because we need to have 4 Italian players in the final starting 11. I know Patrick Cutrone is actually Italian, but we need to replace him with a younger striker. 78 rated and 28-year-old, he is not going to get much better. So a striker is definitely on the shopping list. And I'm also going to be looking to replace Bronoda in central midfield. I've just absolutely butchered his name, by the way. He's 78 rated, 24-year-old. I think we can get a better player in, and I'm willing to use all of our budget to bring a striker and set a mid in. So at the end of the season, we are going to be losing Sergio Roberto. Moreno and Daniele Baselli. They're both retiring as they're both 34-year-old. Now in terms of stats, Patrick Cutrone was actually our best player, getting 23 goals and 2 assists. He had an excellent season, but he's still getting replaced in season 3. So I'm actually really impressed with our performance in season 2. The team is developing really nicely and we're actually performing on the pitch. Let's get the right signings in the building in season number 3 and try and get into European football. So we've arrived in season number 3 and bloody hell, the board are tight at Como. They've only given us 25 million euros after such a successful season last season. Think we're going to go ahead and sell Patrick Cutrone and the central midfielder, raise as much funds as we can and get them replaced in season number 3. So we have managed to sell Cutrone and Branoda for a combined total of 45.5 million euros, and that's added some much needed funds to our budget, as we have now got 63 million euros in the bank to bring a central midfielder and striker to the club. And the first player we've identified to bring to Como is one of the best Italian central midfielders in the game, Fabio Miretti of Juventus. He is 22 years old, 78 rated, has got very well-rounded stats, every single stat above 70, and is also affordable, boys. Anywhere from 16.8 to 21 million euros will sign him, and that'll leave us with a massive budget to bring a striker to the club. And Miretti is now a Como player for 18.5 million. This could be one of the best bits of business we do in this entire rebuild. And we still have 42 million euros in the bank to bring a striker to the club. And we have identified the striker we want to bring to Como in this transfer window, and that man is Sebastiano Esposito of Inter Milan. He's 24-year-old, 78 rated, has got very good stats. What draws me to him is his 5-star weak foot and 5 player styles. He looks like a serious handful for defenders, 6 foot tall as well. He's very affordable, as we're going to be paying anywhere from 19.6 to 24.5 million euros for him. Not the most exciting of pickups, but I do think he can grow to around 85 rated. There's not many excellent Italian strikers that we can actually afford with the money we've got, and I would rather invest funds into Esposito, who's got room to grow, than an aging Italian striker who's going to get no better. And we have confirmed the signing of Sebastiano Esposito for 20 million euros. I think this will turn out to be an excellent deal in the long run. And after those signings, we are still left with 20 million euros in the bank. Now there will be one final incoming in season number 3. We have brought in young centre-back Alessandro Villa from Sassuolo. He's 18-year-old, 76 rated, has fantastic stats, showing great potential, looks like a really exciting young Italian centre-back. Now we've paid 10 million up front and we offered up Dossena as part of the deal, as he just would not sign the new deal and he only had 12 months left on his contract. So I think all in all that's an excellent deal. He's got excellent potential via partnered with Quansah. I think we've got 2 centre-backs there who will be our endgame centre-backs. And that leaves us with 8 million euros in the bank, so we can finally get some youth scouting done, as we've just not had the funds for it in recent seasons. And in this rebuild we'll just be scouting Italy, but in my next rebuild I'll need suggestions on which nations to scout, so get your comments in the comment section down below. When all's said and done, we're left with 8 million euros at the end of the transfer window, and I'm pretty happy with the squad. I don't want to sell anyone else in the team, but that's going to be our transfer window finish. And heading into season number 3, this will be the starting 11. We've got a very competitive squad now on paper. I do think we've got a team here that could at least get Conference League football this season, but we'll have to be consistent. We've got a decent bench as well, once again, plenty of options, some good wingers and good central midfielders. I am genuinely excited at the prospects of how we're going to get on in season number 3. So without further ado, boys, let's simulate forward straight through to the end of season 3, see how Como get on. So we've arrived at the end of season number 3, lads, and we have actually achieved a 6th place finish in Serie A, which is very impressive. We finished level on points with Lazio on 67 points, but despite having higher goal difference, they somehow finished 5th. I'm not really too sure how that works. It must have beat us in head-to-heads. But a 6th place finish in Serie A means we are guaranteed Conference League football for season number 4. However, lads, this is not the first time we've competed in Europe in this rebuild. As completely unbeknown to me, we were actually somehow in the Europa League this season. I've got absolutely no idea how, because we finished 7th in Serie A last season. I genuinely give up trying to work out FC25. But we did make the quarterfinals and we lost to Italian rivals Roma 4-2 over 2 legs. Really impressive how we've competed in the Europa League, and if we can carry over this form into the Conference League, I think we could potentially win that competition. And Roma would be the bane of our existence this season, as they beat us in the Coppa Italia final 3-2, knocking us out of the Europa League and beating us in a cup final. We definitely owe Roma a thrashing at some point in this rebuild. But all in all, we've had an excellent season, and looking at the team, it's easy to see why. Every single player in our starting 11 besides Miretti is over 80 rated. Paz has already reached 90 rated. He's going to be an absolute superstar in this rebuild. Really disappointed though with the growth of Miretti. He's only grown by 1 overall point this season. He's 23-year-old and 79 rated. I'm going to give him 1 more season to develop, and if by the end of the season he's not 82, 83 rated, we could be looking to move him on. Now, speaking of next season's transfers, where do we actually want to improve this team? I actually think the squad is looking really strong, boys. It's not going to be easy to pick someone to come into the starting 11. Stella Fezzi out on the left wing is now 31 21-year-old, 81 rated, and he will start to decline in the near future. I think we need to swap him out for a younger, high potential winger. Then I'm probably tempted to let the rest of this team have another season to grow, because we have got a lot of good young players in this team and they may take some more time to start developing. And at the end of the season, we'll say goodbye to veteran player Alberto Moreno as his contract is expiring. He's been a great servant for the club, but at 34-year-old and 69 rated, I have no more use for him. And in terms of stats, Sebastian Esposito was our top scorer, getting 33 goals and 3 assists. The guy was fantastic. Just need his overall to start increasing. So season 3 was an excellent season on the pitch. So much to be positive about. Let's get a left midfielder in and try and win the Conference League in season 4. So we've arrived in season number 4, boys, and the board have finally put their hands in their pockets and they've given us 58 million to spend. Before we get into signing any players, we will be putting Andrea Bellotti and Eduardo Goldenaiga getting placed on the transfer list. They're both 33-year-old. They're both on big wages. In the final years of their contract, we're just going to try and get as much money as we can for them. Now, this season, our primary target is a left midfielder, and there's only one man I want to bring to Como. Luca Koleosho, who is currently playing for Atletico Madrid. He is 22-year-old, 80 rated, looks absolutely fantastic, plenty of play styles, good stats. 4-star weak foot, and he is very affordable as well, boys. Atletico are going to want anywhere from 29.4 to 36.8 million euros. We'd still have some money left over, and he has got excellent potential in FC25. And we have got a great deal for Koleosho, boys. We've paid just 30 million euros for him, which is actually below his market value, meaning we've got 25 million remaining in the bank, so there will definitely be more signings this summer. And with our remaining money, boys, looking at our bench, I do think the squad is definitely lacking a solid backup centre-back, as the best backup centre-back at the club is Kemp at 75 rated, so we're going to use our remaining funds to bring a backup centre-back to the club. And we have identified Pietro Comozzo as the potential backup centre-back. He's 76 rated, 22-year-old, bit of a no-nonsense centre-back. Going to be a very cheap signing. We're only going to pay anywhere from 13 to 16.4 million euros for him. We have completed the signing of Pietro Comozzo for 14 million euros, and he'll be a very solid backup centre-back for us throughout the duration of this rebuild. Now we're left with just 9 million euros, and I don't really think with this money, added on with the player sales of Goldenaiga and Bellotti, I just don't think we're going to have enough funds to improve the team anywhere else. So that's probably going to be our transfer window done in terms of incomings. So we've reached the end of the transfer window, boys, and Koleosho and Comozzo are the only 2 bits of business we have done at Como in this transfer window. We could not sell Goldenaiga or Bellotti as they're retiring at the end of the season. No one wants to take a chance of them. Now, lads, I really don't know how the placement system works in FC25 in Serie A, because we finished 6th, which meant we finished for the Conference League, and we're somehow back in the Europa League. Not going to complain though, boys. We've got another shot at winning this competition, and we have got a very good team on paper. My aspirations for this tournament are to just get further than the quarterfinals. If we can make the semi-finals, I'll be very happy. In the league, I don't know, lads. As long as we improve on a 6th place finish, I'll be really happy. I do think we've got enough quality in the team to trouble the big 4 sides in Italy. Or who knows, could we qualify for the Champions League? There's only one way to find out, and that's by simulating forward straight through to the end of the season. We've arrived at the end of season number 4, and you might want to strap yourselves in, boys. This has been one wild season. Kicking things off, we have won Serie A, boys, on 85 points, 6 points clear of 2nd place Lazio, only losing 5 of our 38 games, and Como are the champions of Italy. Can you believe it? And you know what comes with that? Champions League football in season number 5. And we would go on to win the Super Cup as well, boys. We beat Napoli 4-1 in the final, and that's another trophy added to our trophy cabinet. However, our performance in the Coppa Italia was not as good. We got knocked out by Juventus in the round of 16. But we would make up for that, boys, as we would win the Europa League, beating Brighton 3-1 on penalties after drawing the tie 2-2, making it a treble for Como in season number 4. We could actually just end the rebuild now. We've been so good. Our trophy cabinet is looking stacked already, but we have still got to win the Champions League. So this is how the treble winning Como team is looking at the end of season number 4. This team is absolutely electric on paper. So many players above 85 rated. Our fullbacks are incredible. 91 rated Paz, pulling the strings in midfield. I think anyone who loses their place in this team is going to be very unlucky. Going into season number 5, we have got to bring a world-class central midfielder in to replace Mieletti. He's been at the club for 2 seasons. He's only grown by 3 overalls. He'd make a decent rotation player for Champions League side, but we need quality in the middle of the park. So our primary goal for season number 5 will be to bring a central midfielder to the club. We also don't have an adequate backup centre attacking midfielder. Dele Alli has been coming on for Paz in games. I would like to bring bring in a good centre attacking midfielder who can play backup to Paz in the Champions League. And I do also think we are lacking a decent backup fullback as well. If we've got any remaining funds after bringing a world-class centre mid, a backup cam into the club, we will look to bring in a fullback as well. Now we will be losing Andrea Bellotti and Eduardo Goldeniga. We tried to sell them both, no one would buy them. They'll be leaving the club on free contracts at the end of the season. And in terms of stats, Sebastiano Esposito was excellent this season, getting 26 goals and 4 assists. But let's just talk about Luca Koleosho. Brought in for 30 million euros in the summer. He scored 23 goals and got 6 assists. He was outstanding, and Paz was excellent as well, getting 20 goals and 7 assists. So what an absolutely incredible season number 4 has been for Como. We are now getting into season 5, and all we need to do now in this rebuild is just win the Champions League trophy. So we've arrived in season number 5, and the board have given us our biggest budget yet of 80 million euros. However, I don't think we're going to have enough to bring a world-class centre mid in, a cam and a fullback. So let's get the world-class centre mid into the club and then see how much money we've got remaining afterwards. Now we have identified the centre mid we want to bring Como in this transfer window, and the man is Giovanni Fabian of Bologna. He's 25-year-old, 84 rated, has incredibly well-rounded stats, but it's going to be a pricey deal. Bologna could drive a hard bargain. They could want anywhere from 49.8 to 62.3 million euros for him, but I do think he would be an excellent signing, and he really does elevate the level of our midfield if we can get him through the door. And Giovanni Fabian is in for 55 million euros. This is a big signing for us, and we have still got some money left in the bank, as 22 million euros still sits in our bank account, so I'm confident we can bring in an adequate backup cam. And we have identified the attacking midfielder we want to bring to Como in this transfer window, and that man is Fisayo Dele, who is currently playing over in Turkey. He is 79 rated, 27-year-old, has really impressive stats, and because his contract is expiring in 11 months time, we can get him on a cut price deal. We are looking at anywhere from 14.8 to 18.5 million euros, meaning we can definitely afford him, and I think he would be a very good backup to Paz in season number 5. And Dele signs for the club for 17 million euros on a 3-year deal, and I think this is a very good signing. However, we are now left with just 2 million euros. Now we do have some players listed for transfer. I don't think that's going to raise enough money to sign another player. That's going to be our transfer window done in terms of incomings. The only other business that will now take place at Como is clearing out some of the deadwood. Now lads, we have managed to sell 2 players in this transfer window. Mark Oliver Kemp has left the club to Levante to finish his career for 2.1 million euros, and we have sold rotation player Lucas Dacuna to Girona for 15 million euros. He would not accept a new contract, and he only had 12 months remaining on his current deal, so we've cashed in on him. He's brought a nice little wedge into the football club. So we are now left with 17 million euros in the bank. I am going to have one look of the transfer market to see if we can afford a decent fullback, and as expected lads, 17 million is not bringing anyone to the club who actually fits the bill. That's definitely going to be our transfer window done. Now all eyes turn to our performance in the Champions League. However, we kicked off season number 5 with a UEFA Super Cup clash against AC Milan, and they beat us 1-0 with Ruben Loftus-Cheek scoring the decisive goal. Would have been nice to add this trophy to our trophy cabinet, but it is what it is. We kick on now with season 5. So this season Como will debut in the Champions League, and our league phase fixtures will be quite difficult. We have to travel to Real Madrid, Manchester City and Bayer Leverkusen, just to name a few, and we do have some winnable fixtures sprinkled in there as well. Hopefully we can give a good account of ourselves. My goal is to get to at least the quarterfinals. I do think we've got a good enough squad for it. If we can reach the quarterfinals and qualify for the Champions League again in Serie A next season, I'll be very happy. Let's simulate forward straight through to the end of season number 5 and see how we manage to get on. So we have arrived at the end of season number 5, boys, and we have finished second in Serie A on 73 points, and we was actually 17 points off league winners AC Milan. That's a really big fall off from last season. We lost 9 games, which I think is really disappointing. The only positive to come from season number 5 so far is that we have qualified for the Champions League once again in season number 6. However, we would retain our Super Cup crown, beating Lazio 3-1 in the final, and that's yet another trophy to the trophy cabinet. But in the Coppa Italia, man, wow, this is not good. Second Division Reggiana beat us 3-2 in the quarterfinals. That is really embarrassing, and our embarrassment would be extended to the Champions League. We didn't even make the playoff round, knocked out in the league phase, finishing 30th with just 6 points from our 8 games. That is terrible, boys, and we very deservedly bowed out in the league phase, so there's some serious work we still need to do with this team. Speaking of the team, this starting 11 is looking excellent on paper, and I'm really struggling to find a reason why we have performed so poorly on the pitch. On reflection, I think a second place finish in Serie A is not bad at all. Our performance in the Champions League was woeful, and I just can't put my finger on it because this team is outstanding on paper. Can't lie, lads, I even think the bench is strong. We've got 4 80 rated players on our bench. However, with this starting 11 being so strong on paper, we are going to give this team another chance. We're not going to replace anyone who's currently in our starting 11. However, we are going to look to strengthen our bench in season number 6 by bringing in a backup striker and backup left back. Hopefully, we can have an entire team, starting 11 and bench, all above 80 rated, which I think will massively help us in the Champions League. We do also still have some decent reserve players as well. We need to get Ricci and Valentini out on loan. Now, in terms of stats, Sebastiano Esposito has been outstanding for us, getting 28 goals and 5 assists, but our best player was Nico Paz, who is now 93 rated. Poliosho and Assane Dio had really good seasons as well. So we've arrived in season number 6, boys, and we have got 92 million euros in the bank, so we can definitely bring a backup fullback and striker into the club. Then hopefully, fingers crossed, we have a much better season in the Champions League. So we have identified the backup fullback we want to bring Como in this transfer window, and that man is Fabiano Parisi, who is 28-year-old, 81 rated, and playing for Wolves in the Premier League. He has got absolutely fantastic stats, every single stat above 70. 2 play styles as well, and he's very affordable, boys. Wolves are going to want anywhere from 24.8 to 31 million euros for him. Be an excellent backup option at fullback, and he can play on the left and right side of the defence, which is a massive boost. And we have signed Fabiano Parisi for 27.6 million euros, and I'm really happy with this signing. And we are now left with 61 million euros to bring a backup striker to the club. And with the backup striker we've got in mind, we will be making the reigning Serie A champions significantly weaker, as we are going in for Lorenzo Colombo of AC Milan. He is 27-year-old, 82 rated, 6 foot, really good offensive stats for a striker, and we can sign him for anywhere between 37 and 46.2 million euros. I think he would be an incredible backup striker for us, and just the fact alone that he makes AC Milan weaker makes me want to sign him. And we have signed Lorenzo Colombo for 44 million euros. This is such a good signing, and we are now left with 11 million euros in the bank, and we are not looking to sell anyone at all in this window. We're just going to be loaning youth players out. That's going to be our transfer window done. And with Colombo and Alicia added to our bench, look how good our backup options are heading into season number 6. If we do not perform better in the Champions League this season, something is seriously wrong. And speaking of the Champions League, we are once again qualified for the league phase. Some of the standout fixtures we've got in the league phase will be Manchester City at home, Barcelona away, and Bayern Munich at home. Again, we have got some really difficult fixtures. Just hopeful that we massively improve on our showing last season, and the only way to find out if we do that is by simulating forward straight through to the end of season number 6. So we have arrived at the end of season number 6, boys, and it's been much better. We have won the Serie A title on 85 points, 2 points clear of Inter Milan, scoring 84 goals along the way, losing just 5 games all season, and that's our second Serie A title of the rebuild. And we have made it 3 consecutive Super Cups as we've beat AC Milan 5-4 on penalties. We just love winning this competition. And lads, we have picked up our first Coppa Italia of the rebuild, beating Roma 2-1 in the final. We are just racking up the trophies in season number 6, and we will have the opportunity to win one more, as we are actually taking on Real Madrid in the Champions League final. In the league phase, we finished 11th on 14 points, winning 4 of our 8 games, only losing twice. And that would mean we'd have to play a playoff, and we would get Barcelona, but we would confidently dispatch them at 6-2 over 2 legs before setting up a round of 16 tie with Borussia Dortmund, who we beat 5-3 over 2 legs. We would then go on to smash Atletico Madrid 6-1 over 2 legs before just squeezing past Athletic Club, beating them 3-2 over 2 legs despite losing the second leg to set up a tie with Real Madrid in the final. That should be a thrilling game. But looking at our team, boys, I think we can more than give Real Madrid a game. We have got 3 90 rated players in this team. Paz is 94 rated. He has to be one of the best players in the world. There is no one in our starting 11 below 86 rated. That is such a strong team, boys. We have got a ridiculously strong bench. We have got a hat full of options. I am quietly confident we can get the job done in the final. Well, in terms of stats, this is a surprise. Luca Poliosho was outstanding, getting 38 goals and 12 assists from the left wing. Esposito and Fabian both had over 20 goals, which is insane, and Paz and Assane Dio were incredible as well. So we've been insane this season. We just need to perform one more time in the Champions League final, and this rebuild will be complete. So here we go, boys. It is Champions League final time. Como versus Real Madrid on the Estadio Metropolitano. Let's get the job done, boys. Fabian, Paz, Esposito, Assane Dio in the 8th minute. Come on, lad. Get it in the net. Come on. This has got to be a goal. Let's get in there. 1-0. Asendio with a goal inside 10 minutes. Get in there, boys. First attack of the game. 1-0 to Como.
A few moments later.
Cut inside, lad. That's good. Nico Paz. Real Madrid split. Oh, that was Nico Paz. This is Esposito. Real Madrid split open. 2-0 to Como inside 20 minutes. Lads, we have got a firm grip on this title. Let's just see the game out and get this game won. Since we scored the second goal, we've had to do a lot of defending, but Madrid are getting nowhere. Our defence has stood strong. Don't let him shoot. Don't let him get a shot away. Great block. Oh, ref, get a foot in. Jesus, Rodrigo offside. Oh, Rodrigo's got a chance here. And how have they just blown the whistle there when Madrid are literally in? I'll take it, lads. We're 2-0 up at half-time. I cannot believe the ref has just blown there. We just need to keep on them, boys. We've scored 2 early goals, sat back and soaked up pressure, but Madrid aren't really making any chances. Don't let him shoot. Mbappe drags the shot wide. Could have been a big chance, that. Bellingham and Mbappe could be in. Kwanzaa with a big tackle. That is a big tackle by Jarell Kwanzaa. Mbappe again. Has a shot from distance, and it's an easy save for Oduro. We're soaking up this pressure really well. Bellingham up to Mbappe. Oh, another shot. Easy save for Oduro. Real Madrid, man, are throwing everything at us, but our keeper standing strong, our defence standing strong. Up with Vinicius Jr. again. Don't foul him. Chance saved. And Mbappe misses the rebound. Can't lie, lads. We are starting to seriously ride our luck in this second half. Chance for Madrid, but I think Bellingham, even if they score, it's the ball wide. That is definitely going to be their last chance. We are now into the 91st minute. We just need to smash this ball long. Win it, Esposito. And there's the full-time whistle, boys. We have beaten Real Madrid 2-0 in the Champions League final. 2 early goals followed by a fantastic defensive performance and some great saves from our goalkeeper, sees Como, the champions of Europe. And what a rebuild this has been. And all that's left to do, boys, is lift the Champions League trophy with Como after an insane final. And Como are the champions of Europe, and that is another rebuild successfully boxed off. So just want to say a massive thank you for watching the video. If you have enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it does really help me out. We're trying to get 5,000 subscribers on the channel. And I will see you next week for another rebuild.